Hey, folks. Ooh, chonk chonk.
I made a chonk chonk. I'm gonna fix one of our cameras that ain't
Yeah,
working.
we've got a camera that's frozen, and I don't know why.
So regular introductions and then Charlie's email.
Yes. All right, there's our intermission lights. Hey, folks, thank you so much for coming. Oh, Mal's camera is following him. We are Atomic Annie. That's Mal. I'm Tavian. There was also a light issue. Okay. That's Mal. I'm Tavian, and we are here to play live music for you every Thursday night. We're so glad you're here. That was called We Can Control That. That was, it's funny that I was messing around with my new vocoder. And as you can see, I have a little microphone in front of me. This is to go into the vocoder. And I was just kind of having to say something. And so I was talking about the different controls that I have on here. And I was like, does this control that? Does this control that? Can I control that? Kind of, just talking to myself as I was going through it to test the sounds. And I just locked in on we can control that, and so we end up with where is it? Is it here? We can control that, or I guess it's what was the chord? It would be the 7. We can control that. We can control that. We can control that. Anyway, I like my vocoder. But yes.
I need to switch cameras for just one.
Okay. Mal. Switched cameras. Okay. Mal had to switch cameras to see if it was fixed, and it is, which is good. We'll see if it holds. So
It's getting a what for?
but yes, that was called We Can Control That. The next one, I'm not sure has a name yet. I don't think it does. But it's from year 4, show 19. Oh, you got to get your camera back in order. It's from year 4, show 19, song 2, in D minor. It's a good one. Just got to save this and get the next one called up. And then, yeah, I want to, before I get that one called up, or as it's calling up, I want to shout out Charlie Studios. He makes a lot of our art, and he sent the nicest email to Mal to have Mal forward it to me. And talking about my solo show that I did the other night, Chaoctavian's Chaos, over on Rumble. And I just, mainly, a lot of it was just testing my setup, see what works. And so I was spinning some old vinyl, and he had some nice things to say, and talked about influences and what have you. And I really appreciated it, man. I just wanted to let you know. It was really cool to see, and I'm glad you enjoyed the show.
Prairie Fire says we can't control Mal's hat.
We
We can't control Mal's hat.
No.
That's right. It's my
no.
anti-mind control hat. It's lined with pure titanium. It is not, though. See, Tavian paused in awkward silence because he thought I was serious.
Well, and then I've still got my in-ears in, which I'm not used to. So I'm gonna. Oh, Wicked Age gifted the fleet. Thank you. We appreciate it. Yeah, we've got 2 more jams to come. Let's see. Did that one load up? It looks like it did.
Yeah, the visual art this week, the video that's playing, was done by one Miss Scarlett B, and we are mighty grateful for her.
Yeah.
I've made the majority of it if you look over the last 4 years, but the last year I've been so daggum busy. I've relied on some friends and fans of the show, and they have really just turned out awesome work, and really appreciate it. So it's kind of a community here, Wicked Age, and we're glad to have you, man. Much appreciated.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna disconnect for a moment since I don't need these anymore.
We can't control that. We can't control his hat either.
Off, save
it's not a separate channel, Prairie Fire, on on Rumble. It might become a separate channel because you can have like sub-channels under main channel or something like that. I don't really understand that, but yeah, no, Chaoctavian's Chaos. We're
Just look for the show title on our main
Yeah, it'll be called Chaoctavian's Chaos.
And I do have a support ticket in with Rumble to see if we can determine why when you stream straight through Rumble Studio, no OBS, no nothing, just straight through Rumble Studio, music sounds like garbage. And I'm trying to figure out why. Because if music sounds like garbage through Rumble Studio, we can't use Rumble Studio. And I wanna use Rumble Studio.
That is how that works in Factoroo. We'd like to.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully we can soon.
All right, Crackalactic. You've just given yourself a job, sir.
Yes, you have.
Now just commissioned yourself to make me a tinfoil hat version of my hat. He says Mal really needs a tinfoil version of that hat.
Yes, he does.
Titanium foil, of course. I know you can do it. I know, I can see you.
Charlie Studio says, thanks, guys. No, man, seriously, thank you. That it was really cool to read that email, so very cool. And we always appreciate the art you give us, too. Ghost Pepper says, Tavian has wires everywhere. He is a wizard robot. Yes. A Wizbot? No, that sounds like something completely different.
A Wizbit. Not sure what that is.
Shazbot.
I don't know what that is either.
Oh, dude, are you really that young?
I'm not young.
Mork and Mindy.
Oh, yes.
Shazbot.
I don't remember that word.
It was the
one of his like main words.
Well, it's an Orcian curse word.
Oh, I see.
It's an Orcian swear. Yeah.
Yeah, probably shithead.
No, it's more of an exclamation of frustration. Shazbot.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. That is an old neuron firing there. Nanu Nanu. Disco Daphne says, I just know Nanu Nanu. Yeah. Well, no, it's not that. That's Vulcan. It was, I can't remember the hand signal. Oh, man. Can't remember the hand signal for Nanu Nanu. There was a hand signal for it, you know, kind of like the Vulcan thing, but it was something else.
It's probably like the opposite. Wasn't it like that or something?
No, I honestly, I can't remember.
Maybe.
Yeah. Who knows what you'll find when you come to an Atomic Annie show, folks. We'll talk about anything.
What symbol I'm pointing out right now? But it's Shazbotlicious.
All right. Well, are we ready to go with the second one here, Mal?
Such a nerd. All right. Yeah, let's do it.
There you go. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, it was this. That's right. Nanu Nanu. That's right.
He grabs his earlobes.
Yeah, he pulls his ears out. That's right. Atomic Nanu, says Prairie Fire.
That's funny.
And on that note. Oh, the Mork Egg action figure. Crackalactica brings it up. There you go. Oh, Wicked Age says, do Three's company now. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's right, Daphne. She says it was the first Mork I could find, or I found. I wasn't even sure. Cool. All right. Well, I guess we should get going here, Mel.
Let's do it.
All right. We're gonna try to play the second one for you, folks. This is a redux here, so
We're gonna try.
hope you like it. There is intermission. Hey, folks. Are we actually on our intermission lights, though? I'm not sure. Yes. Yes, we are.
Welcome,
Good.
welcome to all.
Thank you, everyone, for sticking around for song 2 there. If you are new or you just joined us, we're Atomic Annie. I'm Tavian. That's Mal. We're here every Thursday playing music. And we would love your support. If you like what you hear, please follow us on whatever platform you're on, be it Rumble, X, YouTube, whatever. And we really appreciate that Rumble follow. We're trying to grow on Rumble. We've got some exclusive content on Rumble that won't be appearing anywhere else. I've done a few episodes of Chaoctavian's Chaos. We've also got coming up Mal's Atomic Axe Workshop coming up, which will be some behind the scenes footage with Mal and his guitar luthiery.
Yes, it's Luthiery.
Yes.
Sounds wrong.
Aviary. Luthiery.
I know.
Yes.
I know.
Luthieri.
Yeah, building guitars.
And it's also the name of the craft, luthiery.
No, it's Luthiery.
It's the same word, though.
Well, it may be, but no
The
one
place and the
pronounces it
craft.
Luthiery.
Well, luthiery. It's people shortening the number of vowels in the word.
With a lisp. Daphne. That's funny.
But yeah, follow us on whatever platform. Leave us a comment. Let us know how you found us. And if by the end of the show you really like it and you want to help us grow and keep going, because there are costs involved to all of this, we would love a tip. We've got streamlabs.com/atomicanniemusic/tip, which is our favorite place because they take the least. Everyone takes their cut, and Streamlabs takes the smallest cut. Only 3%, and yeah, and it'll also show up on the screen if you tip us on Streamlabs. Mal's just enjoying the chat over there.
I am. Wicked Age says Lou Theory.
Lou Theory, yes.
Prairie Fire says it's ethereal luthier theory.
Yes.
Oof, that is rough. Yeah, and Luthiery just spelled Luth. IERIE.
Luthier lips think ships. My goodness, that one's a great one. Prairie Fire. Luthier lips think ships.
Think ships.
That's throwing that think in there, brother. That's or sister. I forget. Brother. Okay, sorry, Prairie Fire. I forgot.
His name is it's a prairie, and there's a fire on it.
Oh, thank you for the 1,000 gold pills.
Very
Beach Bum and
kind,
Mermaid.
you Miss Mermaid gal.
Is Lou a conspiracy theorist? Warrior in the Garden says, I'm thankful Atomic Annie let me play their music during my shows. You are quite welcome, sir. Spread the words. Make sure links are in the... I typed it with the lisp. Make sure links are in your description. That's all we ask, so that people can find us. And encourage them to follow us. Yes, follow. But, yeah, let me call up this third one here. Mal's plinkety plonkin'.
Stop.
Let's see. Where am I going? I got stuff. All right. And
very kind to sub. That's
now
one of
we're
the best
bringing
ways
up
to
Can I
support
Go
us, guys.
To? Oh, thank you, Beach Bum and Mermaid, for gifting all of those subscriptions. That's
Very
awesome.
kind.
Thank
Very
you.
kind gal.
People claiming them subs. That's awesome. Thank you. That will help us out for sure.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, that's basically the subs. The tips are great, always appreciated, 100% appreciated. But the subs in particular, help us be able to finance things.
Yeah, for sure.
Lets us know exactly what's coming. So we really appreciate subscriptiones.
And I wanted to, if everyone will indulge me for a minute, a little technical talk here. So, on that first piece, I forgot to mention. I wanted to bring it up. That opening sequence on the very first piece. It's a very simple, and I wish I should have called it up. Very simple sequence. It's not hardly anything, but the I've got a new module called a sequential switch, and I can't walk over there. It's extremely cool. Basically, what it allows me to do, I actually had I was controlling the length of the note, so it was do 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 do, you know, just that. But I was able to make some of the notes longer, do 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 do, you know, that kind of thing. And the way I did that is I got four different sequences going of voltages, and I pass those into the sequential switch, and then I'm coming out of that into the length knob for how long the note is, and then that is getting switched like every four measures or something. So you get a different sequence of note lengths on top of the same sequence of notes. And so it completely changes the character of
cool.
the same sequence. If I remember after we're done with this, I may call that up and solo it just to kind of point out what I'm talking about, because it's a cool little thing.
It is.
I'm learning how to use all these modules, and they're a lot of fun.
Yep.
Warrior in the Garden says, I like the slow build up and then the combo of all the notes. Yeah. All right. So we are now going to play Can I Go To? This was from back year 4, show 7. So, and it just dawned on me. I think next week is our birthday.
Oh, is it? Oh my gosh.
It's the close. It's going to be like 6/13.
Yeah. That's the actual date.
Yeah.
We'll call whatever show is that day our birthday.
Yeah, whatever show is closest to that date is our
would be
birthday
the
show.
next one,
Yeah.
wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So
Hey, thanks, Warrior in the Garden.
next week is our birthday show, so be sure to tell everyone, come out. Let's make it a big show. But yeah, I think we're ready to play this third tune. Yep, it's 10 o'clock, so let's get on with this third tune, and then we'll come back and say goodnight.
There we go.
All right, folks. Thanks for sticking around. We're going to play this one. Oh, hang on. I messed something up. Okay, here we go. Hey, everybody. Did you hit record? Please tell me you hit record. Okay. That was a good show. I want to make sure it got recorded. Well, that was it for us tonight, folks. I hope you enjoyed the show. We hope you enjoyed the show. Once again, we are Atomic Annie. We're here every Thursday night. We'll be back next week for our birthday show. It'll be the beginning of year 5. Well, I've been doing this a whole 4 years next week. So
Yes, indeed.
we hope you'll join us.
You better join us. I'll beat you in an old-fashioned manner.
Mal's hat has seeped into his brain. But yeah, we'll be back next week, folks. We once again, we really hope you enjoyed the show. We had a good time playing for y'all, and find us on all the socials. Atomic Annie Music on Rumble and YouTube. It's at Atomic Annie Music. On X, it's Atomic Annie OP1, the number 1, the digit 1. So Atomic Annie, letter O, letter P 1.
Yep.
And you can find us streamlabs.com/Atomic Annie Music /tip. You can find us on Bandcamp. That's atomicannierock.bandcamp.com. That's where you can find all of our music that's for sale. It's just $1 a song. What else? I think that's it.
Also, Pilled. We're also on Pilled.
Yeah.
Pilled family has
Pilled,
been
Foxhole.
super good
Yeah.
to us. They're good people.
Always forget.
Pilled.net, Atomic Annie.
Yeah.
Just Atomic Annie there.
It's the one place we could find that was just Atomic Annie was
That's
available.
where all the stickers are.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to be shadow banned everywhere for being on other sites, by every other site for being on other sites, well, then might as well just mention them all.
Yeah.
God bless them. All right.
All right,
Thank you
folks. Love y'all. Have a great weekend. Hug your family. See you next week.